My daughter Abby has Smith-Magenis Syndrome. For Abby, that means chronic sleep disturbance. She wakes very early every day between 4 and 5 o'clock. She is hyperactive, global delay, intellectual delay. They self-injure. She is very funny as well. They're affectionate and loving. She has no idea of personal space, so she's in everybody's face. When Abby was diagnosed and I cried, I was crying as well for the fact I was crying probably selfishly, saying this wasn't what I had planned. This wasn't what I had in mind, that all my children were going to be normal and grow up and have boyfriends and get married. So I think a lot of the grieving is letting go of what we had planned, and even that is funny because we don't know what we have planned, but I think everyone in their mind thinks how they want their family and their life to go. So for me, I found it really hard to let go of Abby. Abby won't be normal. She's not going to have the friendships that our other two children will have. She's not going to fall in love. She's not going to get married and live happily ever after. It's going to be hard work for the rest of her life and the rest of our life that we're with her. And I don't know that you do actually come to terms with it. I think you've just got to keep living as best you can day by day. So it does put a huge strain on the whole family. They don't sleep because they have an inverted circadian rhythm, so therefore that means their melatonin is produced at the wrong time of the day. Our bodies produce melatonin in the afternoon that tell us to, it's time to sleep, whereas theirs is suppressed and they don't really produce theirs until the morning. So their whole body clock is back the front. And also self-injurious behaviours, and all of that kind of starts to show from about 18 months to 2 years of age. And then there's the aggressive behaviour. They're almost like a Jekyll and Hyde. 1 minute everything's fine, next minute it's a snap, and it can be over absolutely anything. You don't know some of the triggers that set them off. And so those kind of things were the things that I was reading that stood out, but then Andrew, my husband, was reading, yes, but look, they do walk and they do talk, they may be really delayed, but they do have personality, and so he kind of levelled it out a little bit for me.
How do you get SMS?
It's a genetic syndrome, so it's just a one-off, not from anything anyone's done, just one of those unlucky things that happens in the process of when Andrew's genes and my genes come together to form Abby's, and a little bit of hers was left.
How early was Abby diagnosed?
When Abby was born, being my second child, and I held her, I knew something wasn't completely right with her, and I actually asked the nurses, did she actually have Down syndrome? And they said no, but she was also born with an extra digit on her hand, and that's a true sign of a genetic mishap.
So when you found out Abby had SMS, can you remember how you felt? You knew something was wrong.
I knew something was wrong with Abby, and we had a whole process of 6 months of various testings and x-rays and all different kind of tests that they did. And then I actually went on the day up to Hunter Genetics with my sister, and I believed I was just going to be told she was deaf. That's all. So when they actually said she has Smith-Magenis Syndrome, and then the geneticist started to tell me what it was, my whole world crashed basically, and I could hear her but not really take it all in, and I think I focused mainly on all, she was telling us what it was. I remember hearing all the bad things, and then came home that night and Googled it, and all you read was the bad things. I think she was probably a little bit over 2 when we first started to see a little bit of self-injurious behaviour, and she will hit her head with her hands if she gets frustrated, or can sometimes grab a toy or bang her head with it. She would occasionally, she'd scratch herself, just keep scratching in the one spot, and occasionally would bite herself. Abby has isolated our family a little bit because It's hard. When her behaviours are bad, you don't want to be out there because people just look at you and go, oh, you know what, that child needs a good smack. And it's not that, because that, it's far from that. So it kind of, you shouldn't be, but you do worry about being out in public and people seeing things go wrong. You don't want them to see it. So sometimes it's just so much easier to not go out and do the normal things. I heard about Camp Breakaway after Abby was diagnosed in December. A nurse from Gosford Hospital passed on Breakaway's number as she knew there was a SMS camp coming up in January. I really wanted to be there. I wanted to go. I wanted to meet these other families and see these SMS children, but at the same time I felt very nervous about what I was going to see.
Okay, so in terms of the camp, when you went there and you saw all those terrifying things, do you wish you didn't go?
No.
Why?
Because I also, the first day is very overwhelming, and then I cried, and you think of what is it going to be like for your child, and then the next day I went back and I actually looked, and I then found myself looking at some that I would say, okay, we're going to aim for our child to be like that. So you're trying to look at the positives, and then we got to actually speak to the parents, and they are just the most amazing people.
What do you think the benefits of going to Breakaway are?
There's too many benefits. Well, one of the biggest benefits for us is that we get uninterrupted sleep. We have, people looking after our SMS child the whole time. We don't have to worry, and we get to sleep, which is a big thing for SMS families. For the children, they have amazing programs as well, organised for them the entire weekend. They have a disco, they have a huge outdoor jumping pillow, which they all love. There's a putt-putt golf, a big chess set or something like that. They take them off-site as well and do some amazing activities with them, where they go to the treetop high rope park, where they abseil and flying fox, things like that. Parents only marquee, which is set up, it's amazing, it's set up, they have chairs and pillows and bean bags, magazines and newspapers that parents can just come and just sloth if they want to, read a paper, because those kind of simple little things are the things we don't get to do. And there's a coffee machine, they wait on us hand and foot the whole weekend, and it's a time when parents get to just talk openly about what kind of goes on day to day for us. Every year the camps have grown, so every year we're getting to meet more families, forging a bigger network of families, and sharing information between each other on what could work, what doesn't work. We have the most amazing group of volunteers there, who are so caring, so patient, so giving, and so non-judgmental, I think, as well. They see it, and they are caring for our children and get to experience firsthand how hard it is. So they were so willing just to let us have that break for that whole weekend and look out after our children, our SMS children, our atypical children. Amazing group of people.
Breakaway is very fortunate to have one of the co-founders of SMS, Professor Anne Smith from the USA, involved in all of our SMS camps. Anne runs an optional research clinic and information session for parents.
In terms of SMS children, I know that they can be so funny, they can be so engaging, they can be absolutely delightful. They've got great memories. Can you tell me about that side of Abby?
Abby will pick up anything that's new, and one of those things for me that always works against me is if I try to sneak in a new pair of shoes and wear them out or something. I'll be walking down the hallway, and in front of Andrew, she'll always go, new shoes, and it's like, no,